Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're finally taking a look at construction on the Surrey Langley Skytrain Project. Known as SLS for short, it's a 16-kilometer fully grade-separated extension of the Expo line from King George Station in Surrey Centre to downtown city of Langley. The line will consist of 8 new stations, costing roughly $6 billion, and is expected to open in late 2029. While major construction doesn't officially start until later this fall, there's still plenty of early preparation work happening. Starting off at the current end of the line, just east of King George Station, there's not much construction to see yet. However, the signs are everywhere. The ground near the existing guideway is covered with colorful markings, locating a sea of underground utilities. Looking east along Fraser Highway, we can see how the street has already been changed to accommodate the future center-running elevated guideway. A section of the power line on the north side of the street has been relocated underground to allow the guideway to transition from side to center running. There's been a lot of building in this area over the last few years, with more underway and a lot more to come. Since our first look at SLS, the province has released new legislation allowing for very high-density building around transit stations and exchanges, known as Transit-Oriented Development, or TOD for short. While Surrey has already done a great job at adding density around stations, TOD turns it up a notch and adds significantly more housing potential. Moving along, the first new station at 140th Street has been given the name of Green Timbers Station. This is the only station that will straddle Fraser Highway, with station access from the northeast corner of the intersection with 140th Street. This new render gives a much more accurate depiction of how it will be when completed. Currently, crews are preparing the area where the future entrance will be. Piles of dirt and rocks are waiting to be hauled away. The Fraser Highway in this area has also already been prepared with an extra wide median to allow for columns. From up above, we can see where the power lines have been relocated underground for a short stretch to accommodate the station. The guideway continues along the center of Fraser Highway through Green Timbers Urban Forest Park. On the other side of the park, we find BC Hydro crews working on the lines. BC Hydro is spending over $100 million on relocating services along the corridor. It also includes running new power drops for the 11 propulsion substations that will eventually power the SkyTrain. At 152nd Street Station, the future station site on the north side of Fraser Highway has been fenced off and cleared of old buildings. Only a few foundations remain, and those are being removed as well. We can also see the first test pile on this site, as well as part of the equipment that was used to construct it. Test piles give more information as to the actual ground conditions on site and confirm that the design pile will hold the expected weights without shifting or settling too much. We'll see more of the equipment used later on. 152nd Street Station is unique in having an included elevated pedestrian walkway over 152nd Street, landing in the mall parking lot across the street. It's great seeing designs like this that will improve pedestrian safety, but it also hints at the large redevelopments that are expected in this area that will drive future foot traffic. With the guideway transitioning to the north side of Fraser Highway, more BC Hydro crews are out working on the new lines on the south side. Parts of the center median on Fraser Highway have been removed. That's to allow for many temporary traffic pattern changes that will happen throughout construction. Looking east from here, you can see the path that the guideway will take through the Fleetwood area. Arriving at the next station, aptly named Fleetwood Station, businesses on the northeast corner of the intersection have been closed but not yet demolished. The mobile homes on the adjacent lot have been removed and the site has been cleared. Here, crews are working on assembling the mobile drilling rig for the next test pile. You can see both the removable pile casings and rebar cage that will be used in the test pile. Just to the west of the intersection of 160th and Fraser Highway, the ground is covered in markings for more underground utilities. More medians have been removed here as well. If you regularly commute here, be prepared for several years of delays while the project is constructed. And once again, you can see the old power poles and lines on the north side of the street, with the new ones on the south side. As the center of Fleetwood, it'll be very interesting to look back and see how this area develops over time with TOD. While it won't happen overnight, looking back on the changes in 20 years will be fascinating. Just down the road at Bakerview 166 station, the Tim Hortons has vanished, and everyone is okay with that. The embankments that surrounded the site have also been removed, leaving a partially cleared site. Crews are still working at removing the remains. You can still see the outline of where the drive-thru was. Overall, this is a very convenient worksite since it only really impacts the large parking lot. Hopefully traffic won't suffer too much from the construction. The station area will have a larger footprint since the first of 3 bus loops will be built here. This render shows a possible layout design, although the finalized design hasn't been released yet. Much like the previous stations, there are more markings for utilities on the sidewalk for the many services that run here. Medians have also been removed to allow for temporary traffic pattern changes throughout construction. Across the street, what was just a hole in the ground last time is now a fully framed 6-story residential building. The building was approved long before TOD rules, whereas if it was approved now, at minimum it would be 20 stories tall. Up next is the most technically challenging part to build. The nearly 5-kilometer long section between Bakerview and Hillcrest Station is a bit of a nightmare. Crossing the lowlands of the Agricultural Land Reserve and the Serpentine River, the ground conditions are anything but ideal. Piles in this area will need to be between 40 and 90 meters deep to reach stable soils suitable for construction. At least with the guideway being elevated, flooding shouldn't be an issue once complete. Here the guideway will transition back to the south side of Fraser Highway. We can see crews on the east end of the crossing working on installing massive culverts. This appears to be part of the OMC5 project, as we now know that this is where the new Operations and Maintenance Center will be built. An interesting choice considering it's essentially bog. One can only imagine the amount of groundwork that will be required to adequately prepare the site. With a rumored price tag of over $1 billion and not expected to be completed until the early 2030s, it's all starting to make sense now. After crossing the ALR, Hillcrest 184th Station is our next destination. The line will once again transition back to the north side of Fraser Highway before arriving at the station. The site has been fenced off and cleared of greenery. There's still an old house that will be removed soon. Test piling has already been completed here, as we can see the fenced-off pile in the distance. Directly west of the station, a garden center has had its front parking lot fenced off. Columns for the guideway will eventually be built here, but it looks like the business will remain open during construction. More BC Hydro crews are at work on the new poles on the south side of the road, and more medians have been removed. It's all starting to feel very familiar. Looking to the east, it's clear where the guideway will run, once again on the north side of Fraser Highway. On the way to the next station, crews are removing trees from lots that previously had single-family homes. Clayton Station is now easily locatable thanks to the large site that has been cleared. While test piles haven't been drilled here yet, small-scale drilling is underway to test geological conditions. The science-looking guy on site said offhand that they were finding interesting things. It's worth noting that along the entire project, streets will be slowly rebuilt into a grid, allowing for better connectivity to the surrounding communities. Clayton Station will have a new street built directly to the east of it, most likely called 190th, providing better access to the many nearby homes. Just like other stations, more new power lines on the opposite side of the street have been installed. Looking east once again, the clearly defined path for the guideway continues. Which brings us to Willowbrook Station, which has, you guessed it, more BC Hydro crews at work. The former White Spot building still occupies the station site. While it's been closed since the end of last year, demolition and site clearing has not yet started, although more utilities work is underway on the road. The second major bus exchange will be built here. This is where the eventual 200th Street BRT to Maple Ridge will eventually connect. Willowbrook has been rather busy on the development front. Before TOD came in, a cluster of towers had already been proposed nearby, with the tallest reaching 44 stories. So far, Langley Township has been supportive of these larger projects, and with it being further away from the airport, building higher is possible. Whereas at the end of the line, Langley City Centre Station won't have the same option to build as high. The station's site hasn't seen much work other than clearing and ground preparation. New utility poles are in place and being wired into ground connections. Test piling will be underway here between late October and the start of December. It also looks like a great place for a groundbreaking ceremony. Anyways, that concludes our first proper look at construction on the Surrey Langley Skytrain Project. As with the Broadway subway project, I'll get out here every few months to check on the progress and share it all with you. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.